Welcome to this Excel Made Easy video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Now today we're going to look at how to do a Sumif formula and also a Sumifs formula. If you already know how to do a Sumif and want to learn how to use Sumifs, please just skip to the next chapter of the video. So before I start, just like to tell you I'm using Excel Office 365 version 2310. But the Sumif formula we're looking at should work on all versions of Excel. So what is a Sumif? Well, it's a formula that will allow you to add up the sum or total of multiple values in a range that meet a criteria that you specify. So what does that actually mean? Well, on the screen you'll see on the left hand side there is a download of transactions making up a profit and loss account for a financial year. Each transaction is identified with a quarter number, a period number, and a category. And each transaction has a value or an amount in the column D labelled amount. Now say you want to total up the total value of your amount for just quarter one, or you want a value per quarter. How do you do that? Well, this is where our Sumif formula comes into play. So I've created a summary section on this tab where we can summarize the values that we want. Now this summary can be added to a new tab on the same worksheet, or you could add it to a completely new worksheet. We're going to keep it on this tab for display purposes for this video. So I want to work out what the total value is per quarter. So I've got 4 quarters, so I'm going to put my 4 quarters here in the quarter column. In my total amount column, I'm going to put my formula. So we start off the formula with equals, as all formulas do. And then we put in sum if. Then we need to put an open bracket. Now what we're looking for is we're looking for any instance where our column B, quarter, has the value 1 in it. So the first thing we need to do is identify where we're looking. Well, we're looking in our column B for quarter. So we could highlight all of the data down to the bottom row of the data that we want to look into. The problem with that is if we add any more data at the bottom of this, any more rows of data, our formula won't pick it up. So to ensure that we do pick up all of the data, should we add any, the thing we can do here is highlight the entire column by just selecting B in the header row there. So we are looking in column B. Now, what are we looking for? Well, we need to separate that part of the formula with a comma. We then need to tell Excel what we are looking for. We're looking for, in this particular case, number 1. So we're looking for the value 1. So there's 2 ways of doing this. We could either enter speech mark 1 and speech mark. That way we're telling Excel to look in this column for this value. However, there are limitations to doing that, and one of those being is when you copy the formula down. So rather than doing that, what we could do is actually point to our quarter value in column G, in this case cell G3. So what that's telling us is we want to look in columns B for whatever is in cell G3, and in this case it's the figure or number 1. The next thing is a comma, and then we want to tell Excel what do we want to total up, what are we summing? Well, we're summing whatever's in column D. So we highlight column D, and then we need to finish the formula with a close bracket. Then we hit enter. So what is that telling us? Well, it's telling us that the total value of transactions for quarter one contained within our data here is £10,237.83. Can we check that? Yes. If we do a filter on quarter one, hit OK, and then highlight all of the values within our range, look down at the bottom where it gives us our sum £10,237.83, and there are 18,948 transactions. So the total value of all of our transactions for quarter one is 10,237.38. Our sum if formula works. Now, if we copy that formula down as such, shown, what we'll see is that it will return the value for each of our quarters. And then the total, what we've done at the bottom here is we totaled all of our quarters together. So the total value of all of our quarters should add up to 796.01. Let's just double check that by highlighting all transactions. We look down here, 88,796.01. So it works. So we've looked at our sum if formula. And now we're going to look at sum ifs. Now sum ifs gives us the ability to total up a value based on more than one criteria. So what do we mean by that? Well, I've increased our summary here so that we can show what we mean. I've included, as well as quarters, we've included a category column. So maybe you want to total up the amount that you have spent or income you have for your quarter one broken down by category. And our sum ifs is a good tool for doing that. So how do we do this? Well, I've increased the width of our total amount column here simply so you can see the sum in full as I type it in. So let's start. So we're going to start off with equal, and this time it's sum ifs. And we have our open bracket. Now the main difference between this formula and the sum if formula is that we always select the column that we are totaling, we are adding up first. That's always our first column. So we want to add up our amount column. So we're going to select D. That's our column we're always adding up. Then we can pick as many criteria as we like. So in this instance, we're going to just have two, our quarter and our category. But we're going to start off putting in our amount column. Then we have a comma. Our next, we can either pick quarter or category. It doesn't matter. Let's pick quarter first because it's on column B. So we select quarter. So we're going to tell the Excel we want to total up the amount column and we want to look in our quarter column first. We then put our comma in. What do we want to look for in our quarter? Well, in this case, we want whatever's in cell G3, which is quarter one. So we select quarter one and put in our comma. We next want to look in our category column. So we click on category column, which is E here. We want to look in there. So we separate again, then separate that with our comma. And what are we looking for within our category? Well, we're looking for, in this case, apportionment, which is in H3. So we click on H3 apportionment. If we wanted to do more categories, we would do a comma and then just continue on and on. We're just restricting it to the two categories this time, so I'm going to close the sum with our closing bracket. And you can see the sum there in full equals sum ifs ED, comma, BB, comma, G3, comma, EE, comma, H3, close brackets. I'm going to hit enter, control enter, and that returns our value. So what that's telling us is the total value of transactions that are labelled with apportionment and relate to quarter one is actually only 33 pence. Okay, so now I'm going to copy that formula all the way down to the bottom. So we've got our total for each quarter and each category. I'm going to do a special formula paste, simply because I've got different formats on here. Now let's just resize that column. So what we're saying here is that the total amount for apportionment that relates to quarter one was 33 pence. For direct costs was 3.45 million. Income was 4.9 million, etc., etc. Now, so let's check to make sure that that is correct and our formula is working correctly. So I'll go over to our data and I'm going to filter that by quarter one. Then I'm going to filter it by each category. Apportionment, okay. What's the total value of apportionment for quarter one? Well, if we look down here, 0.33, which is what we said. Let's now take that filter off. Go back to the top of our data. Our direct cost was 3.445 million. So if we now filter on direct costs for quarter one and total up the value, we look down here, 3.45 million. Take our filter off again, go back to the top of our data. Our income for quarter one was 4.903 million, 792.84. Let's just filter on quarter one and this time select income. Total that out. What is it? 4.903, 792.84. So we're confident that our formulas have worked. If we now total everything that we've worked out, the total of all of our transactions is 88,796 as a negative. Does that equal 88,796 as a negative? It does. And if you checked all of these formulas here, you will see that they are all correct. The total for our quarter one works out as 10,273.83. Is that correct? Well, let's check it. Filter on quarter one, the total 10,237.83. Our formula works, and that is how to do a Sumifs formula. Thank you for watching. As I say, please like and subscribe if you like this video. Thanks, bye bye.